Hannah Terrio, and this is my presentation on the city of Belo Horizonte, Brazil. Belo Horizonte, which is commonly known as BH to Brazilians, is the capital of Minas Gerais, a state, very large state in Brazil. It lies on the western slope right here of the Espinhacho mountain range. It sits in an elevation at about 2,700 feet above sea level. The population is over 2.5 million. The metropolitan area reaches about 5 million though. And this accounts for 1.2% of the entire Brazilian population. If this was a city in America, only 3 cities would have a higher population. It's only 127.8 square miles, which is less than half the size of New York City. The first to settle in the area of Belo Horizonte were gold seekers, and they built a small village around the early 1700s. This area then became known as Corral del Rey. It was Brazil's first actual planned out city. Slavery was abolished in 1888. Brazil gained their independence the next year in 1889. And so they really wanted to start fresh and just rebuild, get away from the colonization and just really start over, build some industry, create jobs. So they began to map out this beautiful city. First to settle in this area of Belo Horizonte were gold seekers around the 1700s, and they built a small village which was called Corral del Rey. After that, this city was the first planned city. After slavery was abolished in 1888 and Brazil gained its independence in 1889, they sought after a new capital for the state of Minas Gerais. The initial capital of the state Republic of Minas Gerais was a city called Ouro Preto, but it was really heavy in coal mining and it just really symbolized colonization, and so they wanted to start fresh. It was also very hard to access. They wanted to build an industry and expand for the future, a modern Eurocentric. Initially, when they were building this city, it was called Cerca de Minas, which is the Minas city. And so it was built from scratch. There was absolutely nothing. And they actually were heavily influenced by the layout of Washington, D.C., as far as streets after streets, as you can see here. And here is the foundation where it first started. It's just the bare minimum. People came because there's so much free space, so much opportunity for them to build and create jobs, and so it's very popular. A lot of people migrated towards this city, and finally in 1901 it got renamed to Belo Horizonte, which stands for, well, means beautiful horizon in Portuguese. There's so many beautiful buildings and architecture in the city. A really famous young architect, his name's Oscar Neymar. He helped to design a brand new district in Belo Horizonte called Pampulha. And his job, he designed 3 major buildings. One of them is this church right here. That was very, very innovative for its time, the way that it's designed with the arcs and the stained glass. It's beautiful, it attracts many tourists. This just really set the tone for the development of the city, and it just took off from there. The currency in Belo Horizonte is the Brazilian reais, and that's the same currency throughout the entire country. Establishments won't take payments in anything but that. And the exchange rate compared to the US dollar, $1 would equal 5.1 Brazilian reais. The city has the second largest economy in the country. It is rapidly growing, industries everywhere. It relies very heavily on tourism. People come from all over to see the city. Even though there's no beach at all, there's still so many beautiful museums and monuments to see that still brings a lot of people in, as well as a lot of events that they hold, national and international. In 2014, they actually held six matches, including the semifinals, and a huge turnout of fans, hundreds of thousands of people, which also brings in a lot of money. Pharmaceuticals, chemicals, textiles, food, jewelry, furnishing, clothing. So a lot is produced in Brazil. It's home to more than 16% of the biotechnical industry. Home to more than 16% of the total biotechnical industry in Brazil, and contributes over $550 million to the Brazilian economy just from that. They also have some of the best universities Brazil has to offer, so there's never a shortage of intelligence and talent and hardworking people to fill the spots. Some of the demographics of Belo Horizonte, it is 46.7% white, 41.9% multiracial, 10.2% black, 1.1 Asian, and 0.1 indigenous Brazilians, which is shocking. 53.1 female, 46.9% of males. Religion, it's dominated by Catholics, which you see a lot in the culture. It's 59.87% Catholic, 25.6 is Protestant, 4.07 is Spiritist, and 8.02 is not religious at all. This is according to the 2010 census that Brazil did. There's 2 airports in Belo Horizonte, one for domestic travel and one mainly for international travel. They actually wanted to combat the increasing rate of car ownership, and so they were the first in Brazil to implement an urban mobility plan. This was back in 2013. And within this plan, they redid the bus system. They built 2 roads to keep it completely separate from the other traffic. It cuts down on so much time traveling. Cycling is very popular. And so with all the hilly terrain that they have in the city, they've worked hard to designate specific lanes just for bikers to keep them safe from traffic. They also have public bikes available all over the city. Their bike share program, which is called Bike BH, it has 340 bikes at 34 different stations, and it has over 10,000 members. It also has a convenient subway system. This is typically just for suburban workers coming into the city to work. It doesn't run to any kind of touristy attractions, but still very good and efficient for people that need to get to and from the city, with not only creating less traffic, but less pollution. Belo Horizonte is a cultural hub. It is a mixture of all kinds of different things. There is several museums, Palace of the Arts. It has a music conservatory and even a ballet school. Football is extremely popular in Brazil and all of Latin America for that, but they have some pretty huge stadiums and really high level training facilities located in their city. The unique food that many locals love to eat and make is called pão de queijo, which is also known as cheese bread. And so they're baked into balls, and they look delicious. I have not gotten to taste one, but they look great. They're very traditional and very popular. It's custom to serve it with coffee in the afternoon. They love coffee. Carnival is another really interesting thing about Belo Horizonte and the entire country of Brazil. It is a carnival celebration. Carnival is a festival that's held every year. It starts on Friday and goes until Tuesday, just a day before Ash Wednesday. It is a Catholic celebration, Catholic tradition. It marks the start of Lent. In Carnival, you will see all kinds of things: mock battles, food trucks, expression of social satire, mockery of authorities, costumes that display exaggerated body features, depictions of degrading acts, and general reversal of everyday life. This is a picture of the streets of Belo Horizonte during a carnival, but this isn't even a popular city at all to celebrate. So even this, it's like, wow, it's really crazy. Something I would love to be a part of. These are some more pictures of the city. The beautiful lake, as you can see here, by a soccer stadium where the World Cup was played at. Some skyline pictures. It is a very beautiful and bustling city, where old traditions meet a culturally active lifestyle.